Monday, they start a 3-game series at home against Oakland. Clippers backup forward Amir Coffey was arrested early Monday morning in Hollywood on suspicion of carrying a concealed weapon. Coffey was one of 2 passengers in a car. The driver was pulled over by LAPD for speeding. Coffey was booked for a misdemeanor and released. His court date is August 24th. Doc Rivers and Doris Burke are the new analysts for ESPN's #1 NBA broadcast team. Contracts for Mark Jackson and Jeff Van Gundy were not renewed. Buffalo Bills safety Damar Hamlin went through his first practice in full pads on Monday. 7 months ago, on January 2nd, he was fighting for his life after suffering a cardiac arrest in that Monday night game in Cincinnati. What a wonderful story. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is dedicated to empowering our communities by providing progressive talk radio for our audience. We strive to be an intersectional voice for the voiceless. As a Black-owned and operated station, we are committed to highlighting diverse perspectives and creating safe spaces for meaningful dialogue. We believe that everyone has something unique to bring to these political, economic, social, and cultural conversations, and we don't shy away from the hard conversations about current events. We endeavor to be a beacon of hope and understanding while boldly challenging listeners to think more deeply about difficult topics that impact us all. With this in mind, our mission statement at KBLA Talk 1580 is simple: to create an inclusive platform that promotes civil discourse through honest dialogue and encourages personal growth among our listeners so they can become the active agents of change. Our vision is to establish ourselves as the premier radio network with relevant programming across the beloved community, connecting people through shared experiences and collective power for lasting impact beyond these challenging times.
Need a break. The foot I put on neck saying keep the pace. Smile say I'm good, but stomach say I ain't eating days. Mom saying dream bigger, son, you need a lake. Pop saying save your penny, son, you need a place. My friends saying keep it pimpin' blood, you need a race. My fam starting this tradition now of being safe. My ex picking now to tell me how she want a space. She be stressed if I ain't text her every couple days. She ain't special, ain't no pressure when you run the game. Another extra in my section when I'm up at Dre's. Talk to me nicely, walk through is pricey. Till my mom's in the hills and Lil brought them icy. Jesus hand on the wheel, it feels like a vice grip. If I ain't give you the chills, I feel there's alright this. My brother wears heart on his sleeve. His only motivation now is loving to see. We at Cuzzo graduation, manifesting our dreams. As I write the homie Lock, who should've played in the league. Man, it's hard being the vocal. The only one scoring get ball to me when I'm open. They guarded me and I'm stroking from hard and deep in the ocean. This dream take guts, heart, arteries, and devotion. Swear to God, yo, count up my bad days, combat my past ways. Cause sometimes my pride just wanna leave me alone. Cause home don't even feel like how we used to feel, dog. For real, Father Time just wanna leave me alone. Come on. Shorty got your seed now, Daddy put the streets down. But meanwhile, my side chicks won't leave me alone. Let's go. Someone keep it real with me, follow up and build. Put the steel down, the vibes just won't leave me alone.
KBLA Talk 1580. You know the voice. That's Miles Lowe. Miles Lowe Music. That's a hit right there. And if you want to find out more, go to Miles Lowe Music on all platforms. Miles Lowe Music, Spotify, Apple Music.
Apple Music, Tidal, YouTube, Ask Alexa, everything. Pandora, you can't miss it. Just type in Miles
everything,
Lowe
everywhere.
right
Get it now. Your new one's coming out when?
New one is in the works. It'll be wrapped up by the end of this month. It'll be out. So we're gonna have the first single coming out next week.
Okay, all right. Back to school. But yeah, that one has got a lot of great songs on it. Anyway, the current project. Thank you, Miles, for making our mornings just funkier. So my cousin is on the phone, but he's not just my cousin. He happens to be a professional comedian. Excuse me. Come on, voice. Come through. A podcaster. A podcast called The Flop Side. He says he comes from the mean streets of suburban New Jersey and using his unique upbringing to fuel the opinions he shares on stage since his first time performing stand-up back in 2016. Since then, his charisma, confidence, and relentlessness have made him, he says, a dire force in whatever area he decides to work in. Garrett describes himself as hardy, meaning he's able to withstand any conditions and make sure he portrays that through his actions. Garrett the comic entreprenegro, a.k.a. Garrett Harvest. Welcome.
Hey, how's it going?
It's good. How are you?
I'm doing well, enjoying this, the last bit that we have of this nice summer weather, before global warming destroys us all.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure where you are because you could be on the road, you could be anywhere, but we're getting some pretty apocalyptic heat. We had a couple days off from it, but apparently this weekend is back up to, triple digits in the valley. Death Valley over here, aptly named, was up to like 131 last week.
Ridiculous.
So I mean, it doesn't feel like the last of the happy summer weather over here. It's feeling like, like climate crisis.
Well, now I feel like a punk because over here in Baltimore City, it only gets to like 92 degrees or something like that. We're like, oh, this is too much. You guys are over there. Did you just say you guys are over there in Death Valley? It's Death Valley, and it's 132 degrees.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't be over there, but people do. Yeah, and that's the desert, obviously. So yeah, 131 degrees. But even in places where a lot of people live, like in the San Fernando Valley, we're in triple digits on the regular now, and it does feel more like an emergency. I was talking to Dee, who called in earlier, and it's like, I'm glad to see, I do feel like people are waking up to the idea. I'm glad to see this polling. People are waking up to the idea that we don't have forever. Like, we got to get on this.
Yeah. Well, first of all, if you're in the West Coast, you should probably just stay away from anywhere that has valley in the name. It seems like all the valleys are scorching over there.
That's true. If you can't take the heat, stay out the valley.
Yeah, and then with the whole climate thing, like at first, I'm not going to lie, I thought it was a hoax. But my thing was like, I always thought it was real. I just thought like it was so far away that it's like, why are people complaining about something that's going to happen millions of years from now? But now I look at the calendar, it's like, I think it's happening like in 2 months now. Climate change is going to finally.
I mean, I think you're right. I think you're right. It's one of those things where it's easy to just say like, oh, this is in the future. It'll be my grandchildren or whatever. And now they're talking about 7 years until we could reach a tipping point that we might not return from. And then some of these new studies that are coming out, I don't know if you saw this one, Garrett, where they're saying that our greenhouse gases and the heating has warmed up the oceans and in some places, and then melted the ice caps in other places, releasing all this cool water into the ocean, where it's actually changing the Earth's axis, where we're not spinning, the planet is not spinning the same way that it used to, which by the end of this, I think that it was the end of the century, which ain't that far off, we could look at a completely different climate, like not something that may be friendly to human beings.
Yeah. I hear about the ocean melting. Yeah. I also heard about the icebergs melting. I never put two and two together, though, with the cooling thing as far as, like, the water. But I did hear that, like, because all those ice caps and icebergs are melting, that they're releasing a lot of diseases out there as well. So another thing we just got a lot of worries, right? Yesterday was just the weather. Now we got to worry about the weather causing, hot zombies to walk all over the valley.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, the thing about it is, okay, so I wasn't thinking about the ice caps releasing diseases like prehistoric, whatever they had back then, but also the heating of some areas, right? Because more bugs, pestilence, tends to thrive in those warm to hot climates. So, yeah, we do have a lot of worries. I try to make a balance where, I try to focus on victories and good things, so it's just not so depressing that we just kind of say, what's the use, and give up.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to I'm not going to say it's giving up. It just took me a while to believe.
Yeah, right.
Now, like, I gave up first. I pre-gave up. Now I'm back.
You gave up in advance and then worked your way back into how do we fix it? Like, Garrett Harvest,
Yeah.
what were the things that made you say, you know what, maybe there's something to this? Like, if you were feeling like it was a hoax, or feeling like it was a hoax in terms of the hype and that this was so far away, what kind of woke you up to feel differently?
Well, to me, it was when, like, you actually saw or heard more about, like, nature and animals getting affected, because, like, you could listen to humans all day spew some nonsense about a human talking about climate change is no different than a fiend you see on the corner preaching about, like, Jesus coming back or something like that. So it's kind of nothing. But once you see, like, actual scientific proof of, like, hey, the ocean temperatures are whatever, and you can actually see animal species dying out by more numbers than it did before this climate change epidemic, then you're like, okay, something's really going on.
Yeah. I mean, 100-degree temperatures in the ocean off of Florida, to me, that should be a wake-up call for anyone. When did the ocean, start feeling like a hot tub? That's just not normal. We're talking with comedian Garrett Harvest, and you, 800-920-1580. I'm Dominique DePrima for KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
JP Morgan Chase is building on the investments in California and around the country to help close the racial wealth gap and build a more equitable future. As part of JP Morgan Chase commitment, they are taking action to help improve financial wealth and access to banking in the Black community, helping more people open low-cost checking and savings accounts, hosting community seminars with supporting Black-led institutions by building awareness about financial investments, hiring community managers, and opening community center branches like Crenshaw, Inglewood, and downtown LA. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Get the tools to help reach your financial goals. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. On a Mission Youth Travel presents the 2023 Morehouse Homecoming HBCU College Tour, October 25th through October 29th in Atlanta, Georgia. Open to high school students grades 9 through 12. For more information, please call 323-298-4779. Again, 323-298-4779. Students will tour Morehouse College, Spelman College, Clark Atlanta University, Alabama State, and Tuskegee University. Email info@onamissionyouthtravel.com. Again, info@onamissionyouthtravel.com. The HBCU tour price includes all meals, transportation, round-trip airfare with one checked bag, hotel accommodations, all museums, college tours, and admission to the Morehouse versus Kentucky State University homecoming football game. Spaces are filling up quickly, so call today to sign up. 323-298-4779. Again, 323-298-4779.
On your period, sudden gushes happen without warning. But now, you can say goodbye to stand-up gush fears, thanks to Always Ultra Thins with rapid dry technology. It absorbs gushes 2 times faster than the leading store brand and gives you up to 100% leak-free protection. Hello, clean and comfortable with Always Fear No Gush.
Discover credit cards automatically double all the cash back you earn at the end of your first year, which means... Wait, hold up. Question for the audio engineer.
Go ahead.
Did I read that right? Discover automatically doubles all your cash back?
Yeah, that's what the script says.
So if I get a Discover card right now, I can earn twice the cash back.
Apparently. Wait! Unlimited first-year cash back match. Only from Discover. See terms and learn more at discover.com/match.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DePrima on First Things First.
Yeah, and you're invited in as always. We're talking what's going on nationwide and around the world. 800-920-1580. The podcaster behind the Flop Side is joining me today. He's a comedian, and he tours like most comedians on stage. He says when he isn't on stage screaming, kicking, and making folks feel guilty, you can find him in the gym lifting whatever he can get his hands on. Look like on Instagram you're over there lifting weights and staying healthy, and that's all good.
Trying.
Yeah, I try to do the same, but probably, I don't know if you have aspirations of being a professional athlete, but you brought up that, like, we're at a time, and I remember having these conversations with Jim Brown. I mean, different sport, but may he rest in peace, with Jim Brown, about how athletes are paid now versus how they were paid when he was playing, and how that's ever changing. And we hear this narrative that, about these huge contracts that people sign. I know that's not the average player, and that a lot of players, they'll go through any league, NBA, NFL, NHL, and not make millions. Like, that's most people. But we are in a different kind of time, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's ridiculous. These guys get paid. Like, I don't know if you've seen Jaylen Brown on the Celtics just got $300 and something million for only 5 years, which is, I mean, at this point, it's the biggest contract ever signed in NBA history. And hey, I'm not an NBA star, but Jaylen Brown is definitely not the guy in the NBA. So there's going to be a bunch of other people making way more than Jaylen Brown has made.
Yeah, it's
crazy.
And I mean, Miles Lowe, who you just heard his music, I think you just talked to him on the phone, follows these kind of stories a lot more than I do. And I know that there is a lot of chatter right now about this $304 million contract and what it means for everybody else, to your point, Garrett, about him not being, the new Michael Jordan. But, I mean, do you see that as a game changer, Miles?
I see it as, just the progression of where we're going with sports and entertainment. And, the salary cap is skyrocketing. So somebody's going to get paid more than him very soon. You still got Luka Doncic coming up. You still got Devin Booker coming up. You got a bunch of people that are going to be surpassing Jaylen Brown. His own teammate, Jason Tatum, who's better than him. I think next year, the year after, is going to get a probably even bigger contract. So, I mean, if you're going to lock in a guy like Jaylen Brown for 5 years, do it now while the market is where it's at, because it's only going to get worse. So, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world, but it's a damn lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, what is it? Is it making you mad, Garrett? I mean, how do you? Why?
No. I'm very happy for him. I'm more just amazed that, like, it's gotten, because I remember, I think Miles could attest to this. This is like 5 years ago, I want to say, back when Mike Conley signed that fat contract. It was like 120. And we were all like, wow, this guy's getting 120 over 5 years. And now here we are in 2023, where it's like, 305 mil now. It's just like, it's just crazy how the inflation in the NBA contracts is just getting big. But I'm happy for everybody, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, and according to Sportskeeda, that means he'll make $70 million in the last year of his contract, whereas Michael Jordan made $33 million in the 97-98 season, which was back then was considered insanely a lot of money. And that's way beyond just, money was worth more back then. I mean, we're talking about this guy making, 10 times what Michael Jordan, well, okay, not 10 times, double what he made in that 1 year.
Well, and I'll say this too. We also got to remember where basketball is. Basketball is now a global sport. Like a super global sport. The best players in the NBA aren't from America anymore. So, like, with that much attention, that much revenue coming in from around the world, it only makes sense that the guys that are really pushing the league are getting compensated more, I believe.
Here's my question. Well, I have two questions. Number one, I'm always happy to see the players, the actors and writers who are on strike right now, the players, the people that do the thing that makes the people want to watch the thing get a bigger piece of it. Because I feel like most of the time it's the team owners and studio heads that walk away with the billions while we're busy complaining about the millions that some actor, or thousands or hundreds that some actor or NBA player got. So do you think this is also partly like about the empowerment of the players, where they are in a position, they understand that they're in a position to demand that? Or do you think it's just just an inflationary, a natural inflationary thing, like kind of what Miles was talking about, Garrett?
I think it could be a mix of both. I think the players definitely, like with their Players Association, are doing some type of negotiating that increases salary caps or makes better contracts or whatever. But yeah, the inflation thing definitely plays a big part. And I'm pretty sure that, like, to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if like nobody's taking a cut, like percentage wise. I just feel like the owners are just getting that much more money now that they're just I still feel like whatever they're paying the NBA players is nowhere near to what they're really probably getting.
I mean, that makes sense. That kind of goes to what you were saying, Miles, is it's global now. So they've got all these other revenue sources that we probably don't even know about. So they might not be making less because they're paying the players more.
You got to think merchandise deals, TV deals, the video game, the shoes, the naming rights for the stadiums. Like it's
cha-ching, cha-ching.
Cha-ching, cha-ching, all the way around.
Time for taxpayers to stop subsidizing stadiums, I'll tell you that for sure. So Nikola Jokic got $270 million. I don't know what year that was. It couldn't have been that long ago, but that was the most ever then.
Mm-hmm. That was last year. Like I
that was last year. That was 1 year ago. We've seen $30 million jump.
Like look at. I remember the first $200 contract was Russell Westbrook when he just won the MVP. Just in those short amount of years, we've gone up $100 million plus in guaranteed money. So it's only going to get more and more dramatic and extreme with the numbers.
Yeah, because I do remember reading that Steph Curry made like $215 or something.
Steph was next,
and I was like, "Wow, that's insane!" But well, he's Steph Curry. But that's pretty interesting. But here's my other question. This is for both of you guys. Does this impact the rank and file player? Because like I know, for example, I know more about NFL pay, and I know that the big names get millions, but a lot of those regular athletes, they might get like $300,000 or something, and you think that's a lot of money, but average it over the course of a lifetime, the average career like 3 to 5 years. So that means your whole career, your earnings are whatever it is, under $1 million. Do you think, does this have a trickle down effect where the sort of, rank and file player is getting more?
I'm not 100% sure as far as like the official contract, but I mean, I think that the way it works is like, you have negotiations and there's like a minimum that you can pay. And I'm almost 1,000. I would hope that if the max is $305 million, they would definitely have to raise the minimum. I mean, I don't know what it was, but I'm pretty sure it's probably like $1 million a year or something like that. So hopefully they would raise it to probably like 5.
And we think, we think that's a lot of money, which honestly it is. But they're paying, managers and agents, whatever that is, 20%, 15, 20%. Then they're paying trainers. Then this is over their whole lifetime. So if they play, many players may play for, 3-5 years. Over the course of a whole lifetime, you average that out. It's not all that it might seem. Anyway, that is something I hadn't really thought about in that way, and it's pretty interesting. Let's see, minimum salary. Well, I don't know. But shoot, we got in the wrong business. I mean, who in radio makes $304 million a year? Nobody. Well, maybe Howard Stern and Oprah. But that's about it. So we are. I think it's fodder for comedians, probably a lot of things that are going on in the national scene in Washington. A lot of comics talk about Florida man. And to me, the ultimate Florida man is the governor, right? Ron DeSantis or Ron DeSatan, as folks call him. It's weird because I thought he would be doing better in the polls. The last, the polling that came out yesterday, the 45th president had like 54% of Republican voters, and DeSatan had like 17%. So he's not doing really well with his extreme agenda, but he stays in the headlines.
Yeah, for sure, he does.
How are you feeling about this? These new standards. We're even for education, where they're talking about teaching, among other things, that that slavery, was beneficial to Black people because we got job skills, and now we find out that some of this curriculum is coming from PragerU, which is Dennis Prager's conservative, neo-fascist fake university.
PragerU, a fake university, you're saying?
Yeah, PragerU.
I'm
Dennis
sorry,
Prager.
I don't know much about DeSantis in this situation. I know it's a fake school called Prager.
I call it a fake school. It is because it's not really a university. There's a talk host named Dennis Prager. He does TV and radio, who has this thing called PragerU, which basically does like propaganda. It's not at all accredited or anything like that, and that's part of where they're getting these lessons from. But I mean, I know you've heard about this idea. They want to start teaching that that Black folks benefited from slavery.
Yeah, and the crazy thing about it is, I used to be a history teacher, and It's honestly the best subject to teach and the easiest subject to teach if you want to get a career teaching. History is the easiest, but it really bugs me out because like history is very important just to know like where we came from, so we know where we're going. As cliche as it sounds, but he's trying to tell us to teach the kids that they benefited, and he's not even telling us how. So it's just like we'll go into the class, we'll show them Kunta Kinte, we'll show them getting whipped, and then we'll tell them, and then we got to tell the kids why they benefited from that, and that doesn't make sense to me, And the crazy thing about it is, it's going to be hard to find a history book from like back in the day. This is a meme, so it could be a lot. I've seen on social media, I've seen on Facebook, but apparently history books back in the day tried to teach that same like narrative, that like there were benefits to the slave trade, and like they would show us with smiley faces inside the house with the slave owners and stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah, well, we got news, traffic, and sports right here, but I know the Vice President, Kamala Harris, has been pushing back pretty hard on this particular narrative around, the teaching of the so-called benefits of slavery. But you expect that. She's Black and she's the Vice President, and if they would let her speak out about anything, it would be this possible future rival of Biden's, talking about teaching this particular narrative. But when the Black Republicans started getting mad about, when Tim Scott and them started pushing back, you're really out of pocket. And so, I wonder how you see this playing out. We'll talk about that after news, traffic, and sports on KBLA Talk 1580.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to gear with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. We're now learning a settlement has been announced in a legal battle over profits from a line of cancer cells derived from a Baltimore County, Maryland resident more than 70 years ago. Cells that have helped develop vaccines for everything from polio to advanced treatment for Parkinson's. The lawyer for the family of Henrietta Lacks, an African-American woman, says they've reached the settlement in their court fight with biotech giant Thermo Fisher Scientific over profits from Lacks cancer cells. Lottery players across the country are hoping to do tonight what no one has done since April 18th, win the Mega Millions jackpot. With 3.5 months having gone by since someone hit it big in the lottery, tonight's estimated jackpot currently stands at just over $1 billion. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Discover credit cards do something pretty awesome. At the end of your first year, they automatically double all the cash back you've earned. That's right, everything you earned doubled. The cash back from trips, restaurants, all doubled. Seriously, though, see terms and check it out for yourself at discover.com/match.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Dodgers are back in action tonight after an off day on Monday. They start a 3-game series at home against Oakland. Clippers backup forward Amir Coffey was arrested early Monday morning in Hollywood on suspicion of carrying a concealed weapon. Coffey was one of 2 passengers in a car. The driver was pulled over by LAPD for speeding. Coffey was booked for a misdemeanor and released. His court date is August 24th. Doc Rivers and Doris Burke are the new analysts for ESPN's #1 NBA broadcast team. Contracts for Mark Jackson and Jeff Van Gundy were not renewed. Buffalo Bills safety Damar Hamlin went through his first practice in full pads on Monday. 7 months ago, on January 2nd, he was fighting for his life after suffering a cardiac arrest in that Monday night game in Cincinnati. What a wonderful story. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio that's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
For adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy, now there's Skyrizi, Risankizumab Rizza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months, and Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Nothing in me go hand in hand. Nothing on my skin, that's my new plan. Nothing is everything.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, you could achieve 90% clearer skin. Ask your doctor about the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Need help with the job hunt? It can be challenging, but don't worry. LA County has your back. With a variety of available support services, you'll get the help you need while finding a job. We're here to help you succeed. Let's get started. Find out if you qualify at recovery.lacounty.gov/programs. That's recovery.lacounty.gov/programs. LA County and you moving forward together.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Have you heard about Lendistry? Lendistry is a national Black-led small business lender that is headquartered right here in LA. Once you've started your business, Lendistry provides flexible financing options starting at $50,000 to help you access the affordable capital needed to grow. Visit lendistry.com/KBLA to learn more.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where everybody is somebody and nobody is a stranger. You belong here.
You do, as does comedian Garrett Harvest. We're talking about the national issues. You're welcome in. 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. I was, teeing up the situation in Florida and how I really did kind of think that Ron DeSantis would be a bigger force. I thought he was Donald Trump 2.0, like, a slicker, less crazy sounding, unhinged sounding version of Trump, but he's withering a little in the public spotlight. And just to follow up on what I was telling you, Prager University online, they say PragerU is not an accredited university, nor do we claim to be. We don't offer degrees, but we do provide educational, entertaining, pro-American videos.
Pro-American.
Yeah, PragerU is an American advocacy group and media organization that creates content promoting conservative viewpoints on various political, economic, and sociological topics. Now, that is, the source of some of this new curriculum. And it says right here on their website, prageru.com, that it is promoting conservative viewpoints. So how is that? I mean, as a history teacher, that would have had to make you, give a side eye to this curriculum.
Oh yeah. Once you see like the party specific, that's how you know it's going to be kind of side. Actually, you know what? Forget the put. As soon as you said pro-American, that's a big red flag, or American flag. it's a big red flag.
A red, white, and blue flag.
Pro-American.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pro-American flag. Pro-American is just like, because everything that happens in America is American. The fact that you have to go out your way to say it's pro-American, that's kind of
wow.
Yeah,
crazy. I'm looking at their web page. I'm not going down this rabbit hole. We'll do this another day because it's pretty amazing. Kids shows you can trust, and there's like nothing you've ever heard of. Anyway, but
that's a necessary. I got some kids shows you can trust. Do they still make Gullah Gullah Island?
Oh, right.
Gullah Gullah Island?
Right. Yeah. Okay. So Ron DeSantis. Now, remember, this is the same governor who blocked the African American Studies Advanced Placement course from being taught, saying that was CRT, and sent it back, and the college board actually kowtowed to him and changed that curriculum and took out all references to Black Lives Matter and inserted the history of Black conservatives. This is now a change to the Advanced Placement African American Studies class that was made at the request of Governor DeSantis. Now he has, after, Vice President Kamala Harris criticized the new Black history curriculum for the state of Florida. She was in Florida. She blasted those standards and said they wanted to replace history with lies. And now DeSantis has written a letter to the vice president saying that he wants her to come down there. He says, I'm officially inviting you to back down to Florida to discuss our African American history standards. We'll be happy to host you in Tallahassee. It kind of has a snarky tone to it. In Florida, we're unafraid to have open and honest dialogue about the issues, and you clearly have no trouble ducking down to Florida on short notice. This is how he talks to the vice president.
Yeah, we need to throw the Satan in the valley over there in Cali. How about that?
Right into
one of the parts that you mentioned that like stuck out to me most was the fact that you were like, he wants to take away the slave talk and insert. I mean, I don't know what you said. I might get it wrong. It's not verbatim, but you said he wants to insert lessons about Black conservatives. I hate how it has to be either the slave talk or Black conservatives, because like Black conservatives were kind of like a part of that conversation anyway. Like when you talk about to me, when I think about Black conservatives, I think about like MLK and Malcolm X and people like that who technically were Black conservatives, although whatever they did back then does not compare to what like a conservative person would do today.
What do you say they're conservative? I mean, what are you talking about? Socially conservative? I mean, because what Martin Luther King Jr. marched for was jobs, justice, right? Not just against racism, but jobs and justice, or union workers' rights. All of those things are things that conservatives abhor today.
Yeah, I can't give you like a actual like physical proof that I could point out right now, but I just know by like many readings about Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, there were a lot of hints of them being like conservative politically. Like I know for a fact Martin Luther King was a Republican. I'm not 100% sure about Malcolm X, but I know for a fact MLK was, and he actually him and Malcolm X actually quoted like looking down on the liberal ideals of back in the day. But yeah, as far as just like what conservatives do now, or what conservatives did back in the day, we can't really say like Martin Luther King and and Malcolm X would have been marching with DeSantis right now. But yeah, back then.
Well, my understanding was that King wasn't like didn't really adhere to either political party. That Dr. King was more like for the people per se, rather than affiliated with a particular party.
Yeah, that actually may be right too. I just know for a fact, like, what you hear, the political views of the average African American that you will hear about today weren't the views of a lot of black leaders back in the day. That's what I've heard and read about.
Well, yeah, I mean, for sure, Dr. Martin Luther, for sure, Malcolm X would, and we talk about respectability politics today, but we had respectability politics back then. For sure, Malcolm X is not something that mainstream black lawmakers would have embraced during his lifetime at all, because he was affiliated with, in the public mind with radicalism, a militant black power movement, and heaven forbid we stand up and defend ourselves as opposed to turning the other cheek. That would have been considered probably a third rail politically to support a Malcolm X. And even Martin Luther King, right, because of his anti-war stance and such.
So it just makes me think like, does DeSantis want us to just not learn about slavery and just learn about the Black Panthers all day? Like, I'm just confused about what you want out of this curriculum.
No, he wants you to learn about Tim Scott and and Ben Carson. Those are the folks he's going to define as black conservative. But to your point, the fact that they decided to, and this has already happened because that college board already, kissed the ring of DeSatan and made changes to the advanced placement the advanced placement course for Black Studies, which was rolled out for the very first time last year. And they took out all references to Black Lives Matter, even though it's an historical movement that is happening as we speak. And then they replaced it with, conversations about people like Herman Cain, and Tim Scott. And from a historical standpoint, that seems not just imbalanced, but very incomplete.
Yeah. I mean, when you think about the names that we probably both heard growing up in our history class when it came to black folks, definitely wasn't no Tim Scott. Herman Cain sounds familiar. I probably heard him in a couple rap songs or something like that. But
he ran for president. I think, didn't he? I know he died. I'm pretty sure it was from COVID, but don't quote me on that because all this news, that I read, I don't always have the every single fact at my fingertips. But the point is, to what you're saying that makes sense is you're going to take something, Black Lives Matter, which just about impacted every single black person in the entire world. If it wasn't impacting us before 2020, by 2020, it definitely was impacting us, and replace it with something that most black people don't even track. And it's a very tiny slice of our communities that is involved with black conservatism. You're going to take something that affected the vast majority out of the curriculum and replace it with this tiny sliver of reality and present it as if that is in the mainstream of African American thought, politics, or popular culture.
The 2020, I don't even know, what would we even call this era years from now? Just like the 2020 to 2022, just COVID mixed with racial, that had to be, as long as I've been alive, that's one of the most life-changing things I've seen for like black people as a whole. I've witnessed myself for black folks as a whole, just the whole trajectory of like what was important to us and where our focus went and just how we treated our health on a day-by-day basis. Like that just whole thing just changed, and you cannot take that away. Everybody must learn about what we went through so they'll know what to go through when we do get, another COVID from them icebergs, essentially.
Talking with Garrett Harvest. We got to talk about the former president, he who shall not be named, legal troubles when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominic DePrima when we come forward.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go. Shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Have you heard about Lendistry? Lendistry is a national black-led small business lender that is headquartered right here in LA. Once you've started your business, Lendistry provides flexible financing options starting at $50,000 to help you access the affordable capital needed to grow. Visit lendistry.com/KBLA to learn more.
Get in zone, AutoZone. AutoZone is more than a parts store. It's where we help you solve problems like, sorry I'm late, my battery died. And
I need a jump again.
At America's #1 battery destination, you can find the right battery at the right price with options starting at only $89.99. And we offer free battery testing and charging whenever you need it. Get the parts and help you need to get the job done right at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
For all of us, this generation and the next, there is simply no place in our lives for litter. And yet, it's everywhere we look, and unfortunately, it does belong to all of us. So let's come together and create a litter-free, clean California once and for all. Remember to properly dispose of your trash and recycling. Secure truckloads with tarps to keep debris from flying out. Clean out your car when you're at the gas station. Take pride in your community by organizing a cleanup event or join a cleanup event near you. Zero litter is the goal. Join us at cleanca.com. That's cleanca.com. Let's do it together. Brought to you by Caltrans. cleanca.com.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DePrima right now.
Right now, you know what? I said we were going to talk about the 45th president. I must admit, I'm kind of tired of talking about him. I don't want to be like MSNBC. I should say CNN and give him all this free press. But it is worth noting that a Pennsylvania state judge ruled on Monday that an election worker can't sue the former president over statements that he made, calling the election, fake and saying it was, the big lie. Judge Michael Erdos said that Trump has immunity because he was in the White House when he made those tweets and when he claimed election fraud. So that even if their lives have been ruined by his tweets, those election workers are not liable to sue him. So finally something legally goes his way this week. He's already, lost a bid to stop, E. Jean Carroll, and he's lost a bid to stop the documents case from moving forward. We're waiting for an indictment any minute from Fani Willis, Fulton County, Georgia, but now he hears that election workers can't sue him. It's just every day there's another legal ruling about the former president. And yet his approval rating, his polling just continue to skyrocket.
Oh, no. Ow. It's crazy. People love him, man. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I don't know what it is either, but
He's got riz. That's what it is. Like the kids say, he got riz.
To me,
he has a lot of riz.
I guess so. To me, it's like the anti-Riz, but I just, one of the reasons I dread his reelection, aside from the fact that it will plunge our country even deeper into fascism and authoritarianism, is that I don't want to listen to his voice for another 4 years. Like, as a person that covers news, I have to listen to that horrible, drony, 10 vocabulary words voice. I just don't want to do it.
Not even that. You got to hear the voice of everybody who be complaining about, everything he says. Because, all right, so in comedy, the Trump era was bittersweet because in comedy you had a lot of people who would, you get a lot of content off Trump, obviously, a lot of jokes, right? And you also had people who were like terrified every day they leave the house. So now they're like, their time on stage is just spent crying, and that was annoying. So I'm not going to like that either.
Well, I mean, from a talk radio standpoint, Garrett Harvest, I kind of feel like it wasn't ideal, and I know that sounds crazy. I mean, honestly, I wasn't ideal because it was moving us more toward the end of the world, but it also wasn't ideal because the truth is stranger than fiction. Like, you can't even make stuff up because he's so far over here doing things that are just insanely, like, destructive. I don't even want to say conservative, criminal, that you can't even, how do you even comment on that? It's almost, and so fast and furious that it's almost hard to keep up with all of the crimes and transgressions, macro aggressions that this particular president was performing. Performing? Is that the word? Performing. Yeah, so, but I have had to face the fact that there is a really very real chance this guy can get reelected.
Oof. I don't know. I to be honest, like, who else is? The last time I checked, they were saying DeSantis was the closest other person who could probably get elected on his side of the field. Is there anybody else who stands out?
I mean, they're all polling 3%. DeSantis is the only one. He's at 17%. And I know we don't trust polls, but if you're doing 1%, 2%, and 3%, that's a hard road. Yeah. Got a few other things I want to get your take on, and we want to find out, how we can see you, what's going on with Garrett Harvest, comedian, when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Say the quiet part out loud. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Race, culture wars, political turf battles, criminal justice, and injustice. The courts. These are the conversations you won't hear elsewhere. My guests are leading journalists, celebrities, and sports figures, elected leaders, and influencers. They aren't afraid to get into it and say the quiet part out loud. With Ariva Martin in real time, your commute just became the most engaging part of your day. Tune in weekdays from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. or find us on YouTube. Ariva Martin in real time, when you want it straight, no chaser.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminding you that we keep us safe. The Center for the Pacific Asian Family was founded to help address domestic violence and sexual assault in the Asian and the Pacific Islander communities. The Center for the Pacific Asian Family's mission is to build healthy and safe communities by addressing the root causes and consequences of family violence and violence against women. They are committed to meeting the specific cultural and language needs of the Asian and Pacific Islander women and their families. CPAF's vision is of an Asian and Pacific Islander community that embraces healthy relationships and works in partnership with other communities to eradicate all forms of violence. To access services, volunteer, or for more info, visit nurturingchange.org. At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe everyone deserves to be safe. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles, with an auto warranty about to expire, or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost, month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-381-8528 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-381-8528. That's 800-381-8528. What do you have to lose? Call 800-381-8528. Again, 800-381-8528.
Broadcasting live from Leimert Park, USA. Welcome back to your home for unapologetically progressive radio, KBLA Talk 1580.
And my cousin, real life cousin, Garrett Hardy Harvest, is my guest this hour. Before we go down another rabbit hole, Garrett, tell us how to follow you, how to see you on stage, and what else we might need to know about your career as a comic.
Okay, well, on social media, you guys can follow me at Garrett_Harvest, and that's all the major social media platforms: Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Even I'm on Thread now. Dom, you on Thread?
No, but Miles has informed me that I need to get on that. Get on it. Get on top of my social media game. How do you like Thread?
Honestly, I used it probably 4 times, but
but you're there though.
Yeah, I got it. It's something cool to say because everybody's on it. So yeah, follow me on Thread too, Garrett_Harvest. If you're in the Baltimore area, you could catch me. I run a weekly comedy open mic show at Wits End Saloon in Timonium, Maryland. That's every Thursday at 7:30, and I do shows all over. I got August 6th. I will be hosting for Jordan Jensen at Little Havana. Come check that out. It'll be a very fun show. And then the next Sunday after that, August 13th, I will be doing a dangerously delicious pies. It's a tongue twister restaurant. Dangerously delicious pies for the pie show. Come check me out. And other dates when you check my social media.
That's good stuff. We only have a couple minutes left, so I don't want to go too deep. But Pee Wee Herman made his transition. Paul Rubens is his actual name, but most of us know him as Pee Wee Herman.
He's a woman now?
I don't mean that kind of transition. He died.
Oh no.
He passed away, I believe, yesterday. So, a lot of people paying tribute to him. I didn't realize that he was such a major LGBTQ icon, but lots of celebs and others paying tribute to Pee Wee Herman.
It's funny you mentioned that he was an icon, because growing up, he was one of those characters, I don't really know which way this guy's rocking right now. He feels like he seems sexually ambiguous, like he could be anything. So that's what's up. That makes sense.
Well, and it's also kind of I think he also became an icon for kind of people that don't fit in, nerdy folks who dance to the beat of their own drum. In any case, he's gone. We also lost actor Angus Cloud from the show Euphoria, and he was only 25. I wasn't clear what happened with him, but sad to see a young performer, die so young.
Wow. I had no idea. Correct me if I'm wrong. He was still doing the show at this point, right?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
man. Peace and condolences to both their families.
Absolutely. Garrett, thank you for rolling with me on this Talking Point Tuesday. Really appreciate you joining.
Thank you. Thank you for having me so much. It's always love speaking to you, cuz.
And same to you, cuz. At Garrett_Harvest on all the things. Especially Threads. Maybe I'll get on there today. We've got Torrey. He's a critic, he's a writer, and a podcaster, and he's got Star Stories. That's next. After news, traffic, and sports, Torrey on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.